I've been practicing for 40 years now. Hate to say that, but and I'm also a 4-year survivor of an incurable blood cancer called multiple myeloma. I've not only been able to survive, but I've been able to thrive with this cancer. And I do it primarily through the 5 principles that I talk about in my book: a whole food, plant-based diet, targeted supplements, daily exercise, stress reduction, and 7 to 9 hours of nightly sleep. So what are phytochemicals? This is basically the talk today that I'm going to give, and you will not find phytochemicals on labels of food products. You'll see vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, but you won't see phytochemicals. And in my view, it's really the phytochemicals that are the workhorses that provide us with excellent health. You know, they are what give the foods the colors, the reds, the greens, the yellows, the oranges. And when scientists start looking at these phytochemicals, they found that there are over 25,000 of these phytochemicals. And I've read some articles where they feel there's over 100,000 of these phytochemicals in plant foods. And when they start investigating what these phytochemicals do, they find that they all have very powerful antioxidant activity, anti-tumor activity, anti-inflammatory activity, and they have this crazy ability to make your genes respond in a very positive way. Like if you look at this next slide, if you look at the middle there, curcumin is in turmeric. I think most of you have heard of that. But if you look at the 5 green lines coming from curcumin, they are going to positive genes that do good things to your body. So they actually upregulate your good genes. Now, if you look at the 3 red lines going to 3 of your bad genes, they actually downregulate your bad genes. So the key to this is that, you know, destiny, you are not destined by your genes. They call this epigenetics. And phytochemicals can actually make your genes respond in a very positive way, even if they are negative genes. All of these phytochemicals, as I said, have very powerful antioxidant activity. I think most of you know that all aging occurs through oxidation. When you have a car, it rusts. You know, this penny, you can see over time, it turns into a dark brown. But in our bodies, we oxidize also. In a normal day, we have about 1 trillion free radical oxidative reactions that occur in our mitochondria, which are our energy-producing cells. So what happens in the course of a day just through energy production? Your body will create these free radicals. For those of you that are not familiar with a free radical, it is a molecule with an unpaired electron. And if you remember chemistry class, how many went to chemistry class? Electrons do not like to be unpaired, so they will seek out an electron somewhere, and in the process, they damage a lot of your DNA. Now, thankfully, we have 3 innate antioxidants in our bodies. And these innate antioxidants contribute an electron to the free radical, and it stops its deadly activity. In my book, I have a scientific reference to catalase, which is one of the antioxidants in our cells. And in every second, catalase neutralizes 40 million free radicals. So that's how quickly all this is happening in your body. Now, you can overload your system with free radicals so that your 3 innate antioxidants can't handle the free radical load. And the way that most people in the United States do that is really through a standard American diet, which is very high in saturated fat and also toxins, which create an overload of free radicals, which our innate antioxidants cannot handle. Just to kind of give you an idea, the average person gets about 800 free radical hits to their DNA every hour. So that means every day you're getting about 19,200 hits to your DNA through this free radical activity. So what happens is that during the course of the day, you have these free radicals that hit what's called your proto-oncogenes. Proto-oncogenes are genes in your body that actually prevent cancer development. But if you get enough mutations through free radical damage to the proto-oncogene, it'll actually become an activated oncogene, and an activated oncogene actually does the exact same opposite thing that it was trying to do in the first place. Instead of preventing cancer, it actually promotes cancer growth. When I first got diagnosed with multiple myeloma 4 years ago, I came across this article and I highlighted it, and it really kind of blew my mind, to be quite honest with you. It said by the time you are diagnosed with cancer, you have about 5,000 mutations in that cancer cell. And by the time you relapse, you have about 12,000 mutations. So one of the things I always stress to cancer patients is really you have to eat a diet that is very, very high in antioxidant concentration to really prevent these free radicals that create, further mutations and then cause you to relapse. Just to kind of give you an example of the difference between a whole food plant-based diet versus a standard American diet, if you just take a sweet potato and you add a teaspoon of cinnamon and a pinch of clove, and by the way, spices are the most antioxidant-rich food per weight, so you should always put spices on as many foods as you can. And the way we measure the ability of foods to neutralize free radicals are what we call ORAC units. So that sweet potato with the cinnamon and the clove have 246 ORAC units. Now on the right, this is somebody eating a standard American diet. In the morning they have pancakes, for lunch they have a Big Mac, and for dinner a big steak, and we're going to give them some parsley for some extra antioxidants. So the whole day they only have 44 ORAC units, the whole day. Where that one sweet potato there were 246 ORAC units. On the left, these are 5 standard American breakfasts, anywhere from 6 to 26 ORAC units. If you look on the right, that's one smoothie with a teaspoon of amla, which is Indian gooseberry. I would recommend everyone to take an amla supplement and a turmeric supplement. So if you're going to take 2 supplements, they're the 2 that I recommend. But you can see that one smoothie has 1,200 ORAC units. That's just one smoothie in the morning. The thing that really fascinates me about these phytochemicals is that when you combine them, you get this amazing synergistic effect. So 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4. 2 plus 2 equals 7. And I'm going to go through a bunch of scientific articles. In fact, in my book, I have over 500 scientific articles that I reference, because everything that I teach is based on science. So in this article, they basically took breast cancer cells and they applied different fruit extracts to these breast cancer cells. And you can see the onion extract killed about 50% of the cancer cells. The grape extract killed about 30%. So you would figure if you combined, half and half grape extract with onion extract, you would get probably 40% destruction of the cancer cells. No, you got 80%. So there was this amazing synergistic effect. Same article, they took 4 different fruit extracts, did the same experiment. You can see the line on top. There was this tremendous synergistic effect when you added these fruits together. This was another article where they looked at the antioxidant concentration of azuki beans and raspberries, and if you added them together, you would come up with about 6 units. However, when you really look at their antioxidant power, it actually is 8. So there's this synergy that occurs when you combine those 2 foods together. Another article that is really super amazing, and this one, they were looking at carotenoids and their effect against prostate cancer. If you look on the left, that's curcumin, tomato extract, vitamin E. When you combine them, look at the unbelievable, mind-blowing synergy you get in their anti-cancer power when you combine them rather than just eat them individually. Same article, they looked at phytoene and lycopene, which are both carotenoids, and you can see in green, that's the incredible, powerful anti-cancer effect when you combine them, the synergy that you get. This was a great article against liver cancer. Mr. Plummer, you would be interested in this one. And what they did is they took the 10 most common fruits, and they applied extracts of these different fruits on liver cancer cells. And what they found in this article was that cranberries and lemons had the most potent effect against liver cancer cells. Now, one of the things I do want to point out to you is that if you did this same experiment on like lung cancer, for example, this graph might be completely different. And that's why I really stress to people to eat a variety of different foods. In the morning, most people don't believe I do this in the morning, but I have a morning coffee and I put all of these freeze-dried powders in my morning coffee. I am a big proponent of freeze-dried powders. If you look at the blueberry powder, for example, 1 gram of freeze-dried blueberry powder is the equivalent of eating 50 grams of blueberries. So it's a great way to get an incredible phytonutrient punch. I do it in the morning with my coffee. It actually tastes like an incredible hot chocolate, the way that I make it. Now, to show you the incredible power of freeze-dried powders, this was a study that was done against esophageal cancer. And I don't know if any of you know anyone that has esophageal cancer, but it is the second most deadly cancer next to pancreatic cancer. What they did in this study is they took these individuals and they gave them 1/4 cup of freeze-dried strawberry powder every day for 6 months. 80.6% of these individuals had reversal of their esophageal cancer. 50% had complete elimination. And they proved this with endoscopy. They took photography. These are some of the people that had reversal. The next slide, 50% of the individuals had complete elimination of the early esophageal cancer just with the strawberry freeze-dried powder every day. So I tell people, when you make your smoothie in the morning, make sure you put as many different fruits, vegetables in that smoothie. Take advantage of the synergistic effect. This was another study that was done against liver cancer, once again, and kind of the same as the fruit study. And they wanted to see which nuts had the most potent anti-cancer effect. And in this study, it was pecans and walnuts. Once again, if you did this against breast cancer cells, it might be completely different. But I will tell you, in general, and this was another study that was done, it was just looking at antioxidant power of different nuts. It's kind of interesting that pecans and walnuts have the most powerful antioxidant effect also. And one of the things I've learned through my research, it seems that foods that have the highest antioxidant power also have the highest anti-cancer power. And what they're finding through molecular probe technology is that when an antioxidant gets into a cancer cell, and most cancer cells have very high levels of iron and copper, there's a reaction called a Fenton reaction, which actually converts the antioxidant into a free radical inside of the cancer cell. And that's one of the ways that antioxidants actually kill cancer cells. In my book, I have about 20 different ways that phytochemicals kill cancer cells. It's all scientifically referenced. It's absolutely amazing what God put in food to protect us from cancer. So in the morning, you guys might think I'm a fanatic. Probably am. But I want to live till I'm at least 100. Before I take my supplements in the morning, I take a couple of each one of these nuts. Now, I could take a whole handful of walnuts, but instead, I want to take advantage of the synergy of all these different foods. So I take a couple walnuts, a couple pecans, I take a couple pistachios, and I take those before I take my supplements. And I would recommend anybody that takes supplements, always take some fat before you take your supplements, or you will not absorb your fat-soluble vitamins and phytochemicals. Now, this study, what they did is they fed one group high volumes of walnuts, which are very potently anti-cancer, and they The other group didn't eat any walnuts. Then they took the blood of each and they put them on growing breast cancer cells. And what they found was the blood of the people that were eating all these walnuts, it totally decimated all the cancer cells. In the other group, it didn't do anything. The point is that when you eat all these phytochemicals, all these phytochemicals get in your blood and they go into every nook and cranny of your body. They're going into those cancer cells. They're going into all your healthy cells. So when you eat something, always be thinking, whatever I'm eating, it's going in every nook and cranny of my body. If I'm eating crap, it's going in every nook and cranny of your body also. So just remember that. So that was the results of that study. Now, this study kind of summarizes everything that I've been talking about. What they did in this study is they took 6 different cancers and they applied 25 different vegetable extracts to these growing cancer cells. The smaller the bar, the more potent the anti-cancer activity. Each one of them is different, and that's what I was stressing to you before. You know, every cancer responds differently to different foods, but one thing you will see in general, in yellow are your allium vegetables, which would be your onion, garlic, and leeks. In green, they're your cruciferous vegetables. That's broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale. You can see consistently they're always on the right side of the chart. So anybody here that has cancer, or if you're trying to prevent cancer, if you have a family history of cancer, make sure you eat allium vegetables and cruciferous vegetables every single day because they all have very powerful anti-cancer activity. When I eat a salad, I put at least 25 different vegetables in my salad. And one of the things I've been adding, I add like all 4 berries, and I've been adding apples lately because I really want to take advantage of the synergy. You know, just don't put lettuce, tomato, and some carrots on there and, you know, think that that's going to be really beneficial. I mean, it'll help you, but if you can put a little bit of lettuce, a couple radish, a couple carrots, a couple celery, you know, you're going to get a much greater synergistic effect. Same thing happens with teas. You get synergy. So once again, before I go to bed at night, I actually add all 4 of these teas. They all have very potent anti-cancer activity, and then I take my supplements with that. Curcumin is one supplement that has over 10,000 articles that show it has very powerful anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory activity. In green, these are all chemotherapeutic drugs. Curcumin acts very similar to all of those chemotherapeutic drugs without any of the side effects. It's amazing how these phytochemicals can fight cancer. Now, turmeric has over 300 phytochemicals. Curcumin's one of them. There's zingerol, tumerol. So what they wanted to do, they wanted to see what works better, just curcumin or turmeric. So they applied both to 7 different cancers, and as you can see, the turmeric worked better than curcumin. And why? Because there was synergy among all those 300 plus phytochemicals in the turmeric. So when I take a turmeric supplement, I take 8 grams of turmeric per day. I always try to find one that is not standardized to 95% curcumin. Almost all of them are, but you can find, the one that I use now is from Nature's Bounty, and I always take it with a black pepper extract that significantly increases the bioavailability. So a turmeric extract's kind of orangish. One that's 95% standardized will be more yellow. You know, to kind of prove it to myself, when I was at Whole Foods one day, I took a picture of the turmeric, and indeed it is a little bit more orange than yellow. So curcumin's yellow, and really turmeric is more kind of orangish color. So this is really the theme of my lecture. You know, variety is the spice of life. You know, when you're eating food, you know, don't get a habit of just, okay, my fruit is I'm going to eat apples every day. You know, like have an apple, have an orange, have watermelon, have raspberries, blueberries, blackberries. You know, really try to diversify, you know, your food intake. You can also get my book on my website, naturalinsightsintocancer.com. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I hope you learned something. Thank you.